Rawr!
When did we all get this dumb?
Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef.
Come on, man. Use your brain.
The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
All right. It's the Why I'm Angry podcast. We started now, and we're here. And, reminding you to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast on all of your social medias, anywhere that you get podcasts, because you can get the Why I'm Angry podcast anywhere that you get a podcast. Here tonight, this is the chef at the Freestyle Man Cave studio, and got a special guest on here tonight, Lady D.
Hey, listeners. Oh, I'm
There we
special.
go. Special guests. You know,
I'll
always
take it.
special. Always special. So, how's it been? You been all right?
Yeah, life been good. How you been?
Not bad, not bad. I'm kind of recovering. Last week we weren't on because of sickness. We had the illnesses going through our house. So, everybody was kind of figuring it all out, trying to survive. So there was no way I was going to be able to sit for an hour on a podcast, let alone barely sit up. So yeah,
Did you have the
coming
bubble
back from that.
guts?
Nah, not too bad, not too bad. Allison, my wife had it more than I did. Luckily, our 2-year-old kind of slid through without getting anything major. She had a little sniffles and stuff like that, but she didn't do too bad. She woke up a few times in the
Good.
middle of the night, but everything came and went. No major doctors involved or anything like that. So, successful
Mm-hmm.
weather change, cold season, I guess, issue. So
Glad to
lots
see
going
you're back
on.
and in better health.
Yeah, lots going on. Lots have happened. Going on vacation next week, so won't be on next week. Maybe I'll do something special from the beach or something. It'll be dependent
Um,
on
Next week is the one of the greatest holidays though of this year.
well, I do know that there's Juneteenth coming up.
Period.
So we haven't recorded a Juneteenth special, you know. But maybe we'll have to do something special the week after, just, catch it up. Um, just figure it out.
You're gonna be live from the sand.
We might go live from the sand for a few minutes. But I'm gonna do something a little different, and let me get your ideas or your thoughts on it. I probably haven't unplugged from social medias and things like that for
Mm-hmm.
probably 18 or 20 years, because
Oh
the
wow.
jobs that I've carried have been in those fields. So, like, when I was in sales, I kind of had
Mm-hmm.
to use those to my advantage, to get sales out, get what we were doing, kind of use them as marketing tools and stuff like that. And then when we traveled,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we used that kind of thing too. When we were doing antiques and collectibles, we were doing these big shows. And so, whether I was on the radio or I was doing TV spots, or we were throwing things on different social medias to get people in the area out and about. Or obviously with the food truck, we used it all the time because we were posting our menus, we were telling people where we were at. And you kind of just couldn't survive without doing something on social media at that time. It wasn't quite as big as it is now, unfortunately. but it at that time you still worked it every day and stuff. And so then with the podcast and stuff like that, you know, we're always on social medias doing something. So
Mhm.
this next week, I think I'm going to pretty much unplug. Just kind of my laptop, my production side of things that normally go with me. Um, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay here in Ohio. The what I would normally use as the production studio is gonna stay in Ohio, and it's gonna run things while I'm gone. I've got a guy that's gonna produce the church services and stuff while I'm gone, and it'll be here. So I'm gonna take a regular old digital camera, take lots of pictures, but I'm not gonna get on. I'm not planning on not getting on Facebook or posting on anything to Snapchat, or I've got things all scheduled for the church and all of that, and the marketing set up. Got everything scheduled to go that way. Um, so my posts are already set. I'm not gonna do anything.
So I think that it's great that you are unplugging. I sometimes do it often, actually, throughout the year. If I find that I'm finding myself spending too much time on like certain apps on my phone, my downfall would most likely be TikTok and YouTube, but probably at this stage, maybe TikTok more than YouTube. Um, but it's great to unplug. And I will say, unfortunately, we live in a world where all you see is somebody is walking around holding their phone going like this. And it's nice to unplug and just be in the moment. I will tell you, when I went on vacation earlier this year, I didn't take a lot of pictures, but I was kind of happy because I was enjoying the experience more than anything and the memories that I
Right.
was making. So it was, for me, it was great not being able to have to connect. I think probably the most, and for me, it was even more great because I was in the middle of the ocean. So it was wonderful.
Right, right. And so service wasn't great there, right?
Right, at all. All you had was Wi-Fi, and even that was crappy.
Right.
But no, it's nice to unplug and detach, because a lot of times we can be too constrained or restricted to our devices. And then, not to mention, um, imagine your eyes giving you a thank you in advance, because looking at those
Right.
screens for hours
Right.
and playing the games and stuff, like, it messes up your freaking eyes. This is why I have to wear
Right.
glasses now.
Right. Well, and that's like I
But,
enjoy.
um,
Go on. You kind of
no,
glitched
no,
for a
go ahead.
second, so like I enjoy going like doing the photography and stuff like that. So that's why like I'm gonna take my digital camera, but I literally, instead of using my phone for everything, because I just
Mhm.
lost, my phone just died. My good phone that has everything on it, which I'm hoping that I can still get, my 2 years of pictures off of it, because I was stupid and didn't back it up. Um, with anything on any cloud service
Mhm.
or anything like that. But so I'll take my, and the phone that I've got as my backup doesn't have any camera at all. Like we're right now on it right now. But it's just got a front facing camera, and that's it. The rest of them literally are broken. Like the lenses are
Mhm.
broken out of it somehow, like I broke them, and then they just, they're just they don't work. So um so I'm gonna take that. I enjoy doing photography, so it's something that I've wanted to get back into a little bit more often. But it'll be nice to just like, oh, I'm not getting on a post, and then I'm like looking at the post like, how many likes, how many this, how, all of that. And that's
Right.
honestly sometimes where we just kind of we lose what the real reason or what we're really there for is, you know, that we're not there to, for the likes or whatever, or for, we're there for experiences. And I think, like you said, being buried in a phone, you can lose that experience.
Mhm.
That's something that even my wife is always talks about. She's like, I don't take a ton of pictures on my phone because I want to enjoy the experience. I'll remember it or whatever. And I'm like, I want to be able to like look
Right.
back and whatever. But I mean, how many times do you actually even like use the photos that you take? I mean, or print them or anything or throw, other than the fact that we've got like these like digital frames nowadays that we have setting around. Or I even use the Roku has a photo frame app that I use on for the screensaver that I'll throw photos on from our vacations and stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
otherwise you just bore people to death with your vacation photos, you know. So once in a while, when we don't have, TV, when we're not watching TV, the photos pop up and things of that nature. And it's kind of nice to see them that way. But in a less boring, let's come over and see a bunch of slides on a projector screen. Are you old enough that your uncles or grandparents or something like that ever did that?
Like put the thing in the projector and look at it
Yeah. Did you ever
all.
see like a slide projector?
Uh, I've seen one of those. Yes.
Yeah. My wife's grandpa, he had a bunch of
It's
slides
neat.
that he used to we would go over once in a while, and he'd be like pull out the box of his old vacations back when Allison's grandma, who had died like 15 years ago, was still alive and going to vacations, which was probably another 5 or 10 years before
Mhm.
that. And we would sit there, and it was fun to see. We enjoyed being part of his life, and so that was always enjoyable to see the slides. But you know somebody's like, oh, we went to the Grand Canyon, we did this, we did that, and you're just like, oh great, now we get to see 42 pictures of you guys, standing at the Niagara Falls or whatever.
Yeah.
um, we always thought it was like I mean, we've had we had family members that would have the parties or something, or we had friends that would have the parties that, well, we got back from vacation, this is the food, this is some of the food we ate, and then they would like show all the slides of where they went so that you could live vicariously through them. So now we just get on Facebook and we do our photo dump at the end of our vacation. And luckily, no one has to sit on an uncomfortable couch with 22 other people and be on vacation together. So
This is where
so
I
yeah,
caught the fish. This is where I put the hook in.
this is which is funny because like, have you been to Niagara Falls? I guess I don't
I
know
have not.
exactly like your like I don't, I know that you've traveled obviously because you work in the travel industry. But so the first time we went to the
Hmm.
Niagara Falls, we had planned on being there like 4 or 5 hours, thought, this is going to be something cool to see. Well, I think I was like maybe 14 or so, and my brother was 4 years younger than me, whatever. And so we went, we saw the falls, and we kind of walked around for about an hour, and we realized that if you're not doing something like in the town or going on like the Maid of the Mist or something like that, that that's pretty much it.
Hmm.
It's a bunch of water falling over the rocks, and that's it. So after about an hour, hour and a half, we're like, All right. We've seen it. Been here. Let's let's buy a souvenir so we can tell people we were here legitimately, and
Hmm.
let's go. Let's go find something else to do. And so yeah, we literally spent like an hour. Like we spent I don't know like 4 hours driving to the falls. We
Hmm.
spent an hour at the falls, and then we spent another like 4 or 5 hours driving to the area where we were going to stay that night. We were staying somewhere in Pennsylvania. I think we went to Hershey Park or something like that the next day. And so yeah, we drove down to Hershey and just kind of spent the rest of the evening in Hershey because the falls literally took us an hour to walk to get bored at.
And I guess the one thing that I've never just been fascinated by just watching a waterfall. Like I'm different, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it was cool, and you can put it in a perspective of, this is like, the sheer power of the water coming over and how many gallons, and just, the power of God on earth, just seeing those kind of things. You can say, "Oh," but like you said, after a little bit there's just, "Oh." Now,
Yeah.
we went for our honeymoon. Me and my wife went for our honeymoon to Niagara Falls, and we had a great time. We spent like 3 or 4 days, 5 days. We were super poor back then, and not that we're super rich now or anything, but we were way more poor back then. And yeah, we had a great time. But there was other things to do. I was not 15 at that time. We had a room that overlooked the falls, so we could sit in the air conditioning and just watch the falls. At night, they
Hmm.
light the falls up, so. Plus, we were on our honeymoon, so there was things that were interesting going on.
Right.
Um, like we went to the chocolate factory and the Maid of the Mist, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So,
That's the best
um,
you could do. You she listen. You owe her. You owe her another a redo.
man, we were so poor. Like we were both making like I think I was making $9 an hour at that time,
Hmm.
and she wasn't making much. Like she was making around the same amount. I mean, we were like she was an administrative assistant, and I was like a salesperson. We were just making nothing.
Hmm.
But we've done okay. We were in Maui on our 10th anniversary,
Take her to
so
Paris, or better
why
yet,
would I
take her to
go
Italy.
to an a stinky town like Paris? Um
Take her to Paris, or take her to the
she's
Maldives.
she has been to Italy twice without me.
Well,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to teach you how to step your game up.
We went to Maui. We were in Hawaii on our or on our anniversary. So, we've done okay. Anyhow, so somebody's gonna have to figure out how to muddle through somehow next week without me. But maybe I'll get on. I'll do a little live from the beach on my phone or something, but probably not. So, but did you see Hunter Biden was in a jury trial yesterday and found the Hunter Biden guilty?
I saw that.
Got found him guilty of 3 gun charges, gun-related felony charges. The first conviction of a child of a sitting U.S. president. 54-year-old son of the president, Joe Biden, faces up to 25 years in prison, though he is likely to receive a much lesser punishment, as he's a first-time convicted offender. His sentencing is expected in 4 months. So,
But this is something we kind of already knew, right? That he was going to be found guilty, or that he was
well,
already guilty.
so yes, Like
Okay.
we as normal people who actually can look at the evidence and can see the writing on the wall, can kind of see that he's he's definitely guilty of something. He was on drugs. He had firearms. He bought a firearm while on drugs, so thus perjured himself on paperwork. Um, all kinds of stuff like that. But if if the judge hadn't had half a brain when he had a plea deal for these charges
Hmm.
that he was going to get off scot free, that he would
How?
just because the prosecuting attorney didn't want to prosecute the sitting U.S. president's son,
Okay.
um, which, in all honesty, right there should show you that there are two standards here: the standard for you and me, and the standard for anybody who is a sitting U.S. president's son. Um, so he was, he was going to the. It says the conviction comes after the plea deal to avoid indictment fell through last summer, which is what I was talking about, where the judge said, wait. We got felony gun charges and we're giving him $1,000 fine, and we're reducing them down to less than misdemeanor gun charges. So,
What do they call that? Nepotism?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That
Hmm.
is. So, says they found that Hunter Biden had lied on a federal licensed gun dealer to a federal licensed gun dealer and falsely claimed that he was not addicted to illicit drugs, which he's used as a defense that he was addicted to illicit drugs
Right.
as
I remember that. Yeah.
is why he had done certain things. And so it's tough to kind of bring that back, that
Which
after
one is it?
you've yeah, right. Do you want to be convicted of assault, or yeah. So so anyhow, he's been embroiled in a year-long drug addiction detailed in his 2023 memoir. So he's made money off of his drug addiction also now. And the case involved intimate testimony about his struggles with his ex-wife, his adult daughter, his sister-in-law. President Biden later indicated that he would not use his executive power to pardon his son. The younger Biden faces a separate trial in September over his federal tax fraud charges. So it was all one case at one point, and they were just going to wipe everything pretty much off. He wasn't going to get a small fine for his tax charges, and then a small fine for his gun charges, and they were being reduced to not much more than a misdemeanor. But that has been changed. So we'll see what he gets sentencing. I mean, the judge can still come in and be like, "Oh, I'll give you time served and 5 years probation and a couple $100,000 fine, or $50,000 fine, or whatever he wants to do." Pretty much judges these days have a pretty good leniency on what they have to do and what they.
What's the maximum?
The maximum is up to 25 years in prison.
Mm.
So I think it's
Judge ain't
like,
gonna give him 25.
no, there's no way. Like, there's no way he's going to get 10 years, though, is what I'm saying.
I
So,
mean, knowing how some of these judges operate now, I'm not sure where or who they working for, whether it's the government or themselves. I watched somebody get sentenced last week for murder, uh, and was only given 8 years.
right. Well, and And that's kind of what we had that big argument like a month ago, 2 months ago, about how if we just charged people and we just had a set deal on it, then we would be much stricter on our crimes than the, well, this is a hate crime or this is what's behind the crime type thing, because right now we're just sentencing people. We're just like, oh no, it's okay, 8 years is good.
Yeah.
You murdered someone, but 8 years is cool.
Right.
That person was only worth 8 years of your life for killing them. Which I do think there are people probably in the world that are only worth 8 years of somebody's life. I mean, but they're probably not the people that were actually getting murdered.
Yeah. So, well, no, we'll see what the judge does, and not to mention following just the doing the pre-sentence investigation and everything else. I'll take it in all the factors.
Right.
We'll see if he does it by whatever the book says that he's supposed to do it by as far as the sentencing, or if he just comes up, or he or she just comes up with their own. This is your punishment.
Right. Right. I mean, he does seem like he at least broke up the sweetheart deal and kind of pushed it through so that he would actually get convicted of a felony charge, that there was actually some laws that were being upheld, because it doesn't seem like sometimes, like you said, murder charges are getting 8 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's like the one last night where last week where the lady tried to, the police officer pulled up on a half naked woman who then stood up, hit the officer, jumped into his car, and then almost ran him over as he got attached to the car somehow and backed into another vehicle. And then she was charged with being temporarily insane. She was
So
sane.
that you can be
Yeah.
temporarily
Yeah. She was
for
sane
just a
enough
split
though.
second.
What's so great is all of that happened. She was then put on a $500,000 bond. She then appealed that $500,000 bond. They dropped it to like $1,000 or $2,000 bond. She just tried to run over an officer. She also went into a convenience store. We're not sure whether she robbed it or not, while the car was moving, and then jumped back into the car. So after all of this, high speed chase and everything, she gets out on bond. She then is hired by the Chicago City Public Service Group, whoever does job and family services or family services and social work in Chicago. She was hired by them. So she's sane enough to be hired by the city of Chicago, but she was insane at that moment.
Something don't sound right.
That's right.
Something don't sound right at all.
But, she can get an. And she's hired by those guys while wearing an ankle bracelet.
Mm-mm.
This is who we've got also. Think about this. This is who Chicago also has protecting the kids from during family services.
Mm-mm. No, sir.
These are the people who are making the good decisions for our young people when they can't make good decisions for themselves because their family is too messed up or is having domestic issues. We're hiring people who cannot keep their clothes on, not assault officers, not put public in dangerous situations. I mean, she hit 5 cars with people in them,
She need to
and
be at
then
the bottom
decided
of
to
the
jump
prison.
out and run down the road away from officers. Still, it was great. She put the Florida men to shame that week.
Now I don't know because the people in Florida they always doing something
Yep,
ruthless and
that's
reckless.
that. You're right. That is normal for Florida,
Right? Can't
but
nobody top them.
but that week she was the best Florida man.
Yeah. And was she only gonna get 4 years?
That's right. Don't go to China though. They just had 4 American college instructors were stabbed in northeastern China yesterday. The victims included or were instructors from Iowa's Cornell College who are part of an exchange program with Beihua University. They were visiting a public park and the attack occurred. So, do we think this is a coincidence and just 4 American in, college instructors were just randomly killed in a park? The 55-year-old suspect was arrested the same day and no motive has been released.
You said this is where that this happened?
This is in China, northeastern China.
It's a
Beihua
coincidence.
University. This is super coincidence. This is coincidence.
Mhm.
This is
Yep.
yeah. This is just that's definitely it. That's it.
Yep.
4 Americans were killed who were college instructors. Probably just they probably had never said anything about um, freedom, or they'd never spoken about communism ever. I guess they weren't killed. They were stabbed.
Okay.
They're expected to make a full recovery, but there it was 4 of them. One of them is the brother of the Iowa State House of Representatives.
Isn't
So,
China supposed to be like one of the most safest countries?
um, they do have a low crime rate,
Oh,
but
okay.
they have seen an uptick in public mass stabbings, including a knife attack at a hospital last month. So the attack, you know, it comes as Washington and Beijing are hoping to restart academic exchanges since the pandemic for the first time. There are about 700 U.S. exchange students currently in China, compared to they used to have about 300,000 Chinese students in the U.S. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
That one is yet to still be to be determined whether or not if it's coincidence.
you know why though? We can talk about this. You know why China has a low crime rate?
And it something got to do with their policy, right? The government there.
Heck yeah, they're going to punish you. If you do
Yeah.
crime, they're going to punish the crap out of you. You probably won't even
Yeah.
survive the punishment.
Yeah. Where is it? Is it China or any? I think Asia or India, maybe. I don't know where they. If you steal, they cut your hand off.
I mean, that's a very Asian punishment. Um, I don't know. I again, I don't. I'm not an expert on legal punishments or the criminal system in China, but a lot of it is yes, it's eye for an eye, or it's very very
Yeah.
you're going to get, but that's what it is the fact that you're going to be punished for the crime that you committed.
Right.
Nah, there's no like, oh, but he's got 14 kids. They don't care. There's like no circumstance, no like insanity you can plea. There's no like, yeah, internal hardship. I was feeling anxious. I stabbed a guy. They don't care. You stabbed a guy. You're probably getting stabbed.
Right.
You're going to spend whatever time in prison.
I wish I could use that excuse. I was feeling
I was
anxious. I
feeling
was
anxious.
nervous,
I
so I
stabbed a guy.
stabbed somebody. Like, what? How?
Right. Well, like, that makes no sense. But yeah.
Oh boy.
So, ooh, the James
It's only
Beard Awards were announced today.
who is that?
James Beard. He was
Hmm.
one of the founding American chefs of the of the American Culinary Federation. Basically, if you are in America and you are in restaurants and you're trying to be like a high end restaurant or whatever, you're either part of the American Culinary Federation or a one of your chefs has been or is. Um, I was part of the ACF for a while.
So
So,
like would like Jeff Ruby be a part of
yep,
like oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's been acknowledged by the ACF as or the James Beard Foundation as
Mm-hmm.
a founding member as a excellent restaurateur. So, um, where the like your Michelin stars in that are more from the aspect of customers. So you're getting a great experience, you're getting great food, blah blah blah. The James Beard Foundation is more from the side of culinary field. So you're being
Mm-hmm.
awarded by your peers. So they have like different areas, and then they have different like kinds of awards and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I've been on here doing kind of the run up, the finalists, and that kind of thing. Um, so like they did outstanding chef, and this is like the outstanding chef in the U.S. award. Went to Michael Rafiti of Alibi in Washington D.C. It's a pretty high end restaurant. So, and then they do like
What
that.
made him
So
so
they
special?
he's probably just he's just creating a new style of menu with different farm to table techniques or something like that.
Okay.
Or he has a revolutionary menu or something. I don't know. It doesn't tell me right here why they won it, but it just tells who's winning it. Like outstanding restaurants, Lang Bang, yeah, out of Portland, Oregon. So, um, and then they've got the restaurateur one, which is Whitaker ID Hospitality Group, which is Erica and Kelly Whitaker. Um, they own the Wolf's Tailor, Bruto, Basta, and a few others near Boulder, Colorado. So, probably because they own like six different high end farm to table gastro restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
or and they're probably on the Michelin list. So basically anything that's pushing the envelope or is being socially um, advancing. So Um, I was gonna see if I really recognized anybody or anybody that I knew even from back in the day. But when I go, we were just talking about where we're going for on vacation. There's 3 James Beard nominated or award winning chefs in the area that we're going to. They have restaurants and stuff around, so we checked out the restaurants, and we'll probably eat lunch or something like that at a couple of them. One's Emerald Lagasse, but it's still though like the difference. Like if you've never eaten at an Emerald Lagasse restaurant, like compared to going to like even one of the Jeff Ruby restaurants, like the Jeff Ruby restaurants are great. And the
Mhm.
food is always like top notch. It's like going to a Ruth Chris. You're always going to get a good steak. You're always going to get good sides. Um, you know that the chefs and the restaurant managers are high end top guys, um,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But what you get at like an Emerald Lagasse is you get taken back in time when service was it, they don't carry the food out on a tray. They carry the food out together. So there's like a parade of people and they all set your plates down at the same time. So if there's 6 of you, 6 servers come and they know which person is setting at at each plate, and there's no like,
Mhm.
hey, I've got the shrimp and grits, or hey, I've got the chicken fingers. It's all just like set right in front of you all at once. It's a presentation, and any drinks and everything are taken care of. All you never know that your cup's gone even. Like
Hmm.
you're never thirsty sitting at one of those tables, because the drink comes, the drink goes. You don't even get, a lot of times you don't barely get to half your glass before you're getting a refresh on your glass. And there's not a bunch of empty glasses sitting on the table. There, your table's always clean. They've got things they're cleaning up your table around you and stuff. When they take a plate, it's freshened and everything right there in front of you.
So they classy.
Is super classy. Like it's just
Mhm.
it's a level of service. You're paying for it,
Right.
but it's a level of service that you really do appreciate when you actually get it. And it makes you feel like, where is this level of service anywhere else? Because sometimes, I mean, like, sometimes you're not just paying for the food when you go to a restaurant. And honestly, you shouldn't be just paying for the food when you go to a restaurant. There's a reason they put a luxury tax on restaurants when you go and sit
Right.
in the dining room, because it should be a luxury, and it's become less and less of a luxury, where we just, as a society, we've decided we're going to eat out at restaurants instead of learn how to cook ourselves, or we're going to eat out at restaurants instead of growing the food ourselves, or anything like that. And now we've taken it for granted, and the service has gotten lower and lower and lower, and we're to the point where it's like we can't afford the better service places, because we can't cook our own food in between, or we don't have the time to cook our own food
Mhm.
in between. And you know so we pay $14 a meal for Taco Bell, when you literally, like, my wife used to make fun of me for spending $14 at Taco Bell. But I'm like, I want 5 tacos, and I want, this is cheap tacos. I can eat as many as I want. You could eat,
I
you
don't
could
know if
buy
I've
5.
ever spent that
But
much.
so, have you gone to Taco Bell lately?
That is actually one place I cannot stomach to eat.
Right. But if you go there, tacos are now $2, almost $3 for just regular tacos.
David
For like a
tacos is
taco
basic. They're not even
supreme
a real.
is like $3. I remember when it was like 78 cents.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like $3. So the other day I ordered 2 tacos and 2 of the smaller like chili cheese burritos. Used to be you could get out with like $7 for 2 of those. Maybe. It used to be you could probably get out with $5.
Yeah.
It was like $12.
Mm-mm.
And I was like,
That's
and
crazy.
when they said the $12, I'm like, I could have gone to, I could have gone like next door to Chipotle and gotten a full on like good burrito, like decent burrito. I mean, I'll say they're cold, and I'm not like the biggest fan of Chipotle, but it is fresh food. It is cut, everything is cut daily, and it's all square. It's all made right. Um, I just want a nice warm burrito. Grill my burrito hot, so it's nice. But whatever, that's for another day. But I could have gotten a whole burrito instead of these tiny little like trashy whatevers.
You the the drunk food. That's like the Waffle House.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And so and that's and that's now the reason to eat it. It's not that it's cheap, and it's now that I remember this back when I was drinking, or I remember this because I'm drinking, that I'm going to go grab 3 burritos and sober up. I'm still going to
Hmm.
spend $15 because I'm drunk and don't realize it, but yeah, everything's now this is why the dollar menu at McDonald's is gone. Now it's like the $1, $2, $3 menu.
Which I get it. Times have changed, but you used to be able to go to McDonald's and have $5 and get you a whole meal.
Right. Now I can work it on the app to get me. I normally get through with about $6, $7, but I'm getting like the buy one get one free. I'm getting so the app can still the app has taken place of ordering. I don't order any food anymore from anybody. It's always on an app pretty much,
That's what they want you to do, though.
and I'm fine with that as long as they're giving me free food or free-ish food.
Hmm.
But that's where we go back to, is at these places I'm not paying them for service. I'm paying them the cheapest, lowest rate for the food that I'm getting. I'm
Hmm.
not tipping them. I'm not, they're not providing any level of service. Like the other day I went to McDonald's, and they literally held the bag out the window and handed me the bag as I was driving up, and I drove off. It didn't even There was no thanks for coming, thanks for being, paying our wages or
Here,
anything.
bye.
It was literally, here's the bag, and shut the door.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so yeah. But we do check out the James Beard ones because there's a level of service. You're getting, if you're not getting a great service, you're still getting great food or different. There's it's like I've always said, in restaurants, in things that you do, you can be the cheapest or you can be the best. If you're in between that, you're probably going out of business and you don't even know it.
Hmm.
So, um, and sometimes if you're the cheapest, you're going out of business too, Red Lobster. But
Don't
you
come
know,
too hard for my Red Lobster now. Nah, I really don't mess with Red Lobster. Being honest,
I
I haven't
mean,
eaten here in years.
honestly, they must be doing okay in Ohio because there's not too many of them actually closing in Ohio. But they did close 50 restaurants all at once, or 50 buildings all at once, and then they closed another couple last week, another 10 or 15. So I think they're going into major restructuring. They've applied for Chapter 11 protections, but I think they're waiting on somebody to buy them,
Who would
which
want
may
to buy
not,
Red Lobster?
which unfortunately may not happen until there's no restaurants left, and kind of like Chi-Chi's, they just sell the biscuits.
Oh, I remember Chi Chi's.
You remember Chi-Chi? I mean, you can still buy their
Yeah.
salsa
And you can
and
still
some
buy
like different
their
sauces and
tortillas.
stuff. Yeah, but they haven't been a restaurant in 20 years.
Huh. Chi Chi's.
They were a great
Um,
Mexican restaurant chain before the Banditos and all of the national chains. Now I can't even
I'm
think of
trying
a
to.
good Mexican national chain.
Maybe Long John Silver's can buy Red Lobster.
Um, yeah, and
I mean,
just
I don't
be an
know.
obsolete ownership group like Long John Silver's.
Or Captain D's, instead of doing the hush puppies, do the. Well, now they hush puppy slapped. Them be quiet. I love they hush puppies.
Four Oaks. Four Oaks owns Long John Silver's.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, oh no, their company is they're with Yum Brands.
Oh, that's
So
like the KFC and all them, right?
yeah, A&W, um,
Mm-hmm.
Yum Brands used to, at one point they were the largest restaurant company in the world. I'm not sure. I think they've sold off a few here and there, and have kind of lost to, like with Burger King and stuff, part of their market share. But yeah, Yum Brands was one of the largest in the world. But yeah, so that honestly, Yum Brands could, but their brands are normally much quicker, fast paced
Mm-hmm.
food. So I don't know that I could see Long John or them becoming Long John Silver's, but I don't think they're that far off of Long John Silver's anyhow, food quality wise. All you can eat shrimp, but
Yeah, what people gonna do about they endless shrimp now?
well, that endless shrimp just about put them out of business. They were losing like 11,000 a month off of endless shrimp.
Somebody said seafood ain't nothing but the insects, like the roaches of the sea.
Well, at one point, having lobsters were considered cruel and unusual punishment to inmates in Massachusetts and Maine.
Shocker.
Yep. Oh well, across Europe they had elections over the last couple days here. France dissolved their lower house of parliament. Uh, 21 other countries or 20 countries have done European parliamentary elections over the last couple days.
Hmm.
Belgium or Bulgaria, we learned, was the poorest country in the European Union.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
They're on their sixth election in 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess with that, at least they can kick out ineffective leaders. The problem with
True.
that is is they're also kicking out a bunch of effective leaders, and so effectively not getting anything done. But I don't know whether that's better or worse than having a lot of ineffective leaders that just sit there for 45 years and still get nothing done.
I was about to look up
What was
something
that?
about France. So I was going to look up something about France. Keep talking though. You're good.
Yeah.
Oop. Okay.
Yeah, basically they're hoping that the pro-European centralists keep the majority, but they're saying that the far-right National Rally Party is defeating them to represent the country. They also have the far-right alternative for Germany earned 16% of the country's vote. Yep. Basically, with all of these, more than 370 million people were eligible to vote in the European parliamentary election, which is the world's.
You talk about.
What I'm talking about?
You there? Oh,
Yeah, I'm here.
sorry.
I was waiting for you to talk.
You talk about. you were talking about crime in China or whatever.
Yeah.
But why? The better question is, why does France have so much crime? Like,
because they're super weak on it. They don't
oh,
convict anybody of anything. They also don't have guns.
well,
Citizens aren't allowed to have guns. The police aren't allowed to have guns.
what they do? Hit them with batons or something?
Pretty non-lethal. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff you can use, but when people are robbing places at gunpoint and you walk up there with like non-lethal enforcement, like they know that the consequences aren't as bad as the consequences they can impose on you.
Right.
So I mean that's just that it does it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. You know, it's just, if you can impose the worst punishment, then you're the biggest baddest mamma jamma there. Like if the government's not going to impose worse than you, then what does that matter? Like it used to be if you couldn't do the time, don't do the crime. These guys are deciding that they can do the time.
Because what's a jail sentence?
Free food for a year, you know, hanging out with your buddies or
As long
whoever
as you
else
got
is in
somebody to put
prison.
some money in your books.
Right.
They can stomach through eating some noodles.
Right. Dick Van Dyke becomes the oldest daytime Emmy Award winner ever at 98 years old. He won it for his role in Days of Our Lives.
I remember this man. Then he used to play in some movies. Hold on, let me see what movie I remember him from.
Dick Van Dyke? Yeah, he used to be in everything.
Yeah.
He's in Happiest Millionaire.
But it's a.
He's in
Let
a
me see.
bunch
Let me
of
see.
different movies.
Oh
Mary
yeah,
Poppins.
murder diagnosis.
Yep, Diagnosis Murder.
Oh yeah, diagnosis murder. My bad. Um,
and all kinds of different shows and movies and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
yeah, I remember this man. I remember watching this show, Diagnosis Murder. I remember this. Okay, then I didn't know he was still living.
Yep,
Shout out to
98 years old,
him.
obviously. I actually had thought he probably had died in COVID and we just didn't remember it or something, but yeah,
Um, it's Bob Barker died though, right?
yes. At
Okay,
99 last year.
that's
Closest to 100
right.
without going over.
That's right. Ironically, Bob Barker's birthday is the day before Dick Van Dyke's.
Interesting.
Yep,
Well, we'll see
December 12th.
if Dick Van Dyke can get closer to 100 next year. Uh, yeah. There was one other one. Oh, the in science, brain anatomy of baboons predicts which hand the animal will use to communicate when grown. Basically, brain region associated with language and larger is larger on the left hemisphere for 70% of it baboons, meaning that they're going to use their right hand.
Hmm.
Yeah, kind of interesting. So, India swore in a new prime minister, talking about a bunch of election stuff.
Hmm.
And then Iran, their guardian council approves the six candidates to run in the June 28 presidential election.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they have a council that actually approves who can run. That doesn't mean that they approve who can win, but I'm sure that they do approve the winner, and that three of these people that they approved to run will no longer be running or maybe even breathing by the end of the election. Kind of sort of seems to happen during the communist dictatorships and fascist regimes.
Yeah.
So so South Korea, this is the big one, announced it will restart its loudspeaker broadcasts of anti-North Korea messages over the border following North Korea's delivery of an additional 330 trash and sewage filled balloons into South Korea. There's quite a lot to unpack in that two sentences.
I was going to say I got lost.
So, North Korea has started delivering trash and sewage to South Korea by balloon. There are 330 of them on
Okay.
their way to South Korea right now. So South Korea has decided to fight them by announcing that it will restart, because at one point, like when North and South Korea stopped like fighting and they just put up they put up the border, South Korea would literally had a loudspeaker that they replayed announcements of anti-North Korea propaganda, for lack of a better term. And so they said that they're going to
Okay.
start that back up now. I don't know when they stopped. Um, because they're sending balloons full of sewage and trash to South Korea. Does this have anything to do with that weather balloon that flew over
I
the
can't believe
U.S.?
he's
Is
getting
that
off.
why they didn't pop it? China was sending us their crap?
I was gonna, yeah. Do we have any balloons spotted in the U.S.
Is is that what's going on here?
that's been floating around for the last week?
Right. Across the whole U.S. over sensitive targets and everything.
Right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So other than that, I did come across one odd news article. It was fake beauty queens
Mm-hmm.
charm judges at Miss AI pageant.
How was this virtual?
Yep. Basically, this beauty pageant consists, or most beauty pageants obviously consist of judges that look at a person's looks. They may do some kind of like special talent. There may be a portion of personality um, involved in it, but yep, normally it's a beauty pageant. This is no different. This is the models were created using generative artificial intelligence. They are
Mm-hmm.
competing in the inaugural Miss AI pageant. These people don't exist in the physical world, in the real world of any kind. They have no presence. They only exist on social media, which is the only
Mm-hmm.
place to exist anymore. Primarily on Instagram, in the form of photorealistic images of extremely beautiful women. All of it's created using a combination of off the shelf and proprietary AI technology.
Interesting.
Some of the characters can also be shown or seen talking and moving in videos, and they also share their thoughts and news about their lives, mostly through accompanying texts on social media posts.
So who won?
Um, I'm not. They're announcing the winner at the end of June. So, according to a statement by the organizer,
Oh.
a panel of 4 judges selected 10 finalists out of 1,500 submissions. So that's the first series of the contests for AI content creators. This website FanView launched, and the FanView World AI Creators Award under their umbrella. The results for the Miss AI will be announced at the end of June. What the awards have done is uncover creators none of us were aware of. Basically, it's just there are actual teams. There's a UK based team. There was a team from Romania, I think it was, that had created a Moroccan team that created a 100% AI model. Um, that they have videos like deep fake videos made of her.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Brazilian group that lip syncs to a song. I mean, they're like some of the photos they've got are pretty good. Like they don't have 18 fingers. So they're actually generating these, they're basically what this contest is doing is making AI a better generated content.
My stance on AI has always been the same. Don't trust it. It's a
No,
computer.
it is.
But it would a creative way to venture off into showing people what you can use the tool for.
Well, and what a creative way to show people that they don't matter anymore. You don't have to be a part of a pageant. You don't have you even if you are the most beautiful person, we don't care. We've got this artificially intelligent, artificially generated person. So
Right.
what does it matter if you're even beautiful anymore?
Always competing against the computers
At
for
some point, at some point,
popularity.
at some point, just like restaurants, we're going to give up. And so there won't be anybody that looks any different. We'll all just wear a uniform.
Hmm.
We'll all just wear the same clothing. And we'll just assimilate into batteries like on the Matrix. Yep.
It's a lot.
Yep. Well, with that amazingly good outlook on what will happen in the future, what'd you learn?
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing tonight. All right. Well,
No, the balloon story was quite interesting because it's like, here we go again.
right, right. I just think it's funny that
You got to stop with the balloons.
right, it's just like, all right, North Korea. The guy, the guy's like sitting over there. It's like he's like a frat kid. Like if you read anything about him, he likes 80s movies. He's really into 80s pop culture, like just early not 90s pop culture and all that. And that's like he lives that life, video games and everything. And so now you've got him like he's like, oh, I'm like 40 some years old now. I control a small country. Let's just send balloons full of crap to South Korea. It's like throwing bags of poo on somebody's porch or something and lighting it on fire. Except for this is like communist dictator style.
I just don't understand what their obsession is with the freaking balloon. Like, why we just can't,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, show up on
I
site and
don't
let it
know.
be on site?
Because he'd be shot, he'd be assassinated. He'd gotta send a balloon.
Wasting time.
Send that balloon. So, well, you know, this is the time where we shamelessly plug what I learned was that we need the help on the podcast. Get on, buy the merch. Get on our website at whyimangry.com. You're gonna start to see a few changes, just because we need some support, and until some more support comes, there'll be some scaling going on our website, and follow, like, and share us. That's the biggest thing, is to follow, like, and share us, and get us out, get our name out there, get us out to the masses, and we're just going to keep on telling people and keep on getting people to think for themselves a little bit.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.